So, has Hollywood destroyed itself beyond repair? We'll talk about it more in just a second here. It's no secret that Hollywood has not been doing well, particularly. They've really been struggling with audience retention, with people going to see movies, watching TV shows on streaming and broadcast. They've been getting numbers, but not the types of numbers that they need to actually be profitable with the majority of their projects, and it's causing them to really struggle with the future. It also doesn't help that their mindset is locked in, must do remakes and re-releases and just hammer an IP into the ground, must use recognizable IP, can't do something original based on something else or more original. They're not willing to do those things because it's hit or miss. They're not willing to spend the money to just try to find a whole new success and have a whole new IP on their hands. They want to franchise everything, which has really run them into the ground. It's run their budgets up to the ceiling, and it's created a whole lot of problems. But they're also running out of time to generate interests for generations below Z. I'm a part of the millennial generation, born in 92, and I think mine is one of the last to have traditional television. Gen Z, there were a couple kids who may have watched some shows in the 2010s, but below that, some of these kids, they've never had an experience with streaming or with broadcast TV or with even movies. They might not even have an interest because what's out there for them. And so Hollywood is losing the opportunity to get their attention away from YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and all these other platforms online. They're losing that opportunity, and they're desperate. What they should be doing, and what I've often said they should be doing, is using these platforms, using social media. They should be using YouTube to upload full episodes of TV shows and movies, but they won't. The closest thing they have is Fast TV, and I think it's the best thing that they have. I've sung the praises of Fast TV for a long time here. I think it's a good platform. And what I mean by Fast TV is they're free ad-supported television services. I'm talking about Pluto TV, Tubi TV, Zumo Play, Freevee, and there's several more that are still coming out. Disney is finally starting to get in the game on their ABC app. Took them long enough. And then Warner Brothers is actually going to be launching their own channel, even though they've already got channels on other services. But these services are popping up everywhere. There's one for Roku, there's one for Samsung. All these third-party companies are getting in on it, and all these channels are being distributed across the board, except for Pluto's channels. Some of Pluto's channels are. I think Pluto is one of the best ones, but it's strictly Paramount and CBS content, which includes Nickelodeon, MTV, Comedy Central. It's a good library. It's a legacy library, but they're still building it up. I think that that's their best option. That's the best thing that Hollywood has because it's free and you can get people interested in it because it's on every platform. But can Hollywood repair the damage that it's done to itself ideologically, politically, in terms of all the division and cultural Marxism? Can they repair that? Well, of course they can. The question is there any interest in doing that? Or do they have so much contempt for their more conservative audiences and Christian and otherwise audiences that they won't do that? The answer is, it seems like that's their attitude, is that they have so much contempt for everybody to the right of them that they'll never make something that appeals to them or is at the very least neutral. They're just devoted to their own personal bubble worldview within Los Angeles and within Hollywood itself. And that, unfortunately, is leading to its demise. People keep saying that 2024 is going to be the year when they go away from cultural Marxism. They shift away from wokeness. Well, only time will tell. But as far as I can tell, they seem to be doubling and tripling down based on everything that's coming out. If something isn't woke, it's woke light. You know, they might reduce some of the elements, but they're not going to get rid of it. You're still going to get more eye-rolling moments, and you're still going to get all of these interviews with writers, directors, producers, and actors talking about how great their projects are because of how diverse they are, or because of the physical features of the directors, and so on and so forth. Oh, the director's a woman, so This is the first woman directing insert genre here, or insert type of movie here, or insert franchise here. Oh, this is the first person of color, blah, blah, blah. Like, stuff that really does not matter. And this is coming from a black dude. This stuff does not matter. This just seeks to divide people because you're focusing on things that don't matter. Their mentality is that everybody deserves to see themselves on screen. I've heard this stupid saying everywhere, and I don't agree with it. I've never agreed with it. That's narcissism. I have never enjoyed entertainment because I see myself on the screen. I enjoy entertainment because I enjoy the story that's being told and the characters that are being created in front of me. I enjoy what their story is. And if I don't, it's just a bad story. But it doesn't matter what the characters look like, what their racial background is, what their gender is, what their personal belief systems are. I either like the characters or I don't. And that's all any audience can ask for. If you're asking for audiences to literally see themselves in a mirror, they'll never be satisfied with what they see on screen. They're always going to be upset because you're not representing them down to a T. They can't. It's impossible. They would have to know every person on the face of the earth who they are broadcasting their material to, and they don't. They don't know people outside of their own bubble. And as a result of that, they can't do this thing they want to do where they're trying to get everybody's representation on screen. Representation doesn't matter as much as they say it does. We had tons of representation back in the day. I woke up this morning and was turning on MeTV, and they had sort of a mini marathon of Saved by the Bell. I guess they do that every Sunday morning. I don't know. I haven't woken up early enough on Sunday to see until now. And I was impressed by the fact that show, it had diversity, but it didn't focus on it. You know, the black kids that were in that show, it wasn't, as far as I could tell based on the episodes I saw, and I had seen a few when I was a kid, but I hadn't seen the show since I was a kid. But they didn't focus on the diversity aspect. They just showed the kids being kids. All of the kids acted like, well, at least like Hollywood thinks kids act. You could say what you want about that. But I wasn't seeing entire episodes based on, oh, diversity this and diversity that and girl power. I mean, occasionally you're probably going to get that between, because the show is very much boys in high school, girls in high school. But I didn't see any overtly feminist plots, at least not in the third wave. Maybe the old school sense of feminism, because this was 1989. But so much has changed in terms of what Hollywood values in its storytelling and what it doesn't. It doesn't value meritocracy anymore. It doesn't value good storytelling. It values ideological storytelling that strokes its own ego. And I'm done with that. And a lot of viewers are done with that. That's why they're seeing less returns on their investment in the box office and on streaming and on broadcast. People have just checked out. That's why I love channels like MeTV and Laugh and Antenna TV and all these retro digital sub-channels. Those networks are constructed the way that old networks used to be. They've got lead-in and lead-out bumpers, shorter commercial breaks on some of their programs. They've got great genre content. MeTV, they can go from westerns to sitcoms to animated stuff to movies, and just the genres are all over the place. They've acquired so much content and they're showing so much content, and I love it. That's what a television channel should be. That's what would get people to watch TV again. And you can watch it on your phone. You can, if you don't have an antenna, you can watch it on your phone, or you can get a service that has it. I think it's Friendly TV. It's one of the cheapest streaming services out there. So there are options for Hollywood, and there are some groups in Hollywood who I think are making good decisions, but they're few and far between. And they're not learning. The bigger factions in Hollywood aren't learning from the success of the smaller factions and the independent factions. And so as long as they don't continue to learn those lessons, they will self-destruct. Absolutely. It'll go from being a multi-billion-dollar industry down to just a multi-million-dollar industry and possibly less than that, and then it'll just redline. I don't have any hope that Hollywood is going to be a bastion of creativity in the future. I think that's a total last resort. I think creativity is going to come from the independent scene more than anything else, and independent broadcast groups and companies buying things out. Because I feel like the people who started MeTV and Antenna TV, all these retro throwback TV, and people who create independent films, they actually know what people want. They know how to tell stories outside of the Hollywood bubble. And that's exactly what you need. You need stories outside of that Hollywood bubble that appeal to more people than just the large metropolitan areas and the ultra cultural Marxist mentality that comes from them. You know, the hatred of capitalism, the hatred of conservative or traditional values, the hatred of Christianity, the hatred of anything to the right of them, basically. And expressing that contempt and openly mocking those people. You need perspectives other than that. Otherwise, you're coming across as blatantly one-sided, and that drives people away. But you need as many people as possible in order to generate a profit. But these people don't care about generating a profit because, again, they're anti-capitalist. Yet they're the ones running some of these companies. It's the most baffling conundrum I've ever seen. It's paradoxical. It's antithetical to the whole foundation of the business, which is to make money. Hollywood is there to make money in the billions. And they can't do that if they're completely rejecting entire demographics, which is what they're doing right now. That's what's destroyed Hollywood beyond repair. That's what's destroying Disney beyond repair. Even if Disney is able to repair itself, they have lost customers for life. There are people who will never return to Disney. They won't go back to the parks. They won't sign up for Disney Plus. They won't give anything with the Disney label or that they know is associated with Disney any money. And the kids aren't interested. That's the other thing, that Disney has lost an entire generation just by lack of anything interesting or good. The kids are just going, these movies and shows suck. That's bad. That's very, very bad. And they're not going to do anything meaningful to fix it, I can promise you. They're still in the reimagine tomorrow mindset. So I have no hope of them succeeding in the future. It might be a decade before we even see something resembling old Disney again. They said, we're going to go back to traditional animation. I'll believe that when I see it. But as long as Bob Iger and some of his cronies are at the helm, that company is going to sink. They need people who are going to cater to families again. Not people who are going to cut out the family demographic. And to be fair, Disney cut out the family demographic years ago. They did as much on ABC. They shifted ABC from being a family-centric network to being just another letter network, and to doing what the rest of them were doing. ABC used to be somewhat of a standout, if you remember. ABC used to have stuff in the afternoons for kids, stuff on Saturday mornings for kids, and sitcoms that were appropriate for the families, along with everything else. It was a jam-packed network. Now what is it? You turn into ABC and it's mostly drama, crime drama, stupid reality shows, your news, which is to be expected, and your sports, which is to be expected. Nothing for the family. The last time they tried to do something even remotely family-centric was Last Man Standing, and we all know how that went. They don't care about the family. Disney bought it because it fit in with their brand. They were already working very closely with them with Wonderful World of Disney, which is the last thing that they're still doing that has any sort of family connotation. And they don't even do it frequently. It used to be every, Sunday night? Now it seems like every other Sunday night or every couple of Sunday nights. Like they've just completely given up on the concept. Wonderful World of Disney has been around for, oh gosh. When did it start? The 1960s? So about 60 some odd years. It's been around a very long time. It was Disney's first foray into television. And they've been with ABC, I think, well, actually, no, they were with NBC, I think, a couple of times. I think they moved networks around, but they had been with ABC for decades, which is why Disney just decided to buy them outright. And it wasn't a bad purchase. But there are people out there who will swear that ABC was destroyed when Disney bought it, and I don't totally disagree with them, although the early 2000s wasn't terrible. The whole yellow era, I love those bumpers. Go look those up. Get that catchy ABC jingle, but their lineups were brilliant. They still had TGIF. They had game shows like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which took off like a rocket. They had the Drew Carey Show. They had some of these other sitcoms. It was still sitcom central, but the sitcoms were dying by the early 2000s. So, anyways, I'm getting all over the place here, but that's just kind of how I am. I'm very much in a retro TV mindset these days, so I could talk about that all day. If you guys want to see a video on that, let me know. But yeah, I do think that Hollywood could fix itself, but they'll never listen to people like me. They'll never listen to anybody who suggests catering to families and to multiple demographics again. They'll never listen to people like that. They are staffed filled with cultural Marxists who only care about that. And as long as that's the case, there is no broad appeal. There is no broad appeal. All I want is broad appeal. I don't want them to make strictly Christian conservative content. I just want content that has broad appeal again. I'm going back and watching shows that used to have that, and it's been wonderful. It's all disappeared. ABC used to be a reliable brand for that. Disney used to be a reliable brand. Warner Brothers, Paramount, Universal. Universal is actually putting in the effort with Illumination. And I give them credit for that. I think NBC Universal is one of the only ones. They're also doing sitcoms. They've got two currently. They've got the Night Court reboot, which I'm not a huge fan of, but they've also got a new one called Extended Family, which I saw and was surprised by how watchable it was. It's nothing Emmy-worthy, but it plucks those strings of nostalgia with sitcoms. So I'm interested to see where it goes. And I think on Tuesday night, they're going to premiere another episode. So I'll be sure to try and tune in because I like to catch that sort of thing live. But in conclusion, I don't think it has destroyed itself beyond repair. But the sad reality is, I think it's going to take them years to realize the damage they've done and to adjust appropriately. I think it takes Hollywood, both on the TV side and the movie side, it takes them years to adjust to where the culture is at. And the culture has, in many ways, moved beyond the cultural Marxism that they're constantly trying to impose on everybody. And so I think beyond 2025 is when we'll start to see sort of the healing begin from that era. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Super Koopa TV. Remember, Hollywood does not respect you. God bless. Have a good one. Peace.